For years and years and years, we've been hearing how the silver tsunami is coming. There's going to be this giant wave of seniors jumping in and out of the housing market. And so the good news is the silver tsunami is here, sort of. And we're going to talk about that more in just a minute. So my name's Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker here at Maximum Realtor and Realtor Partners. And today I want to kind of jump into kind of like what we're seeing happening when it comes to our seniors and baby boomers in particular, about and how that's going to impact or is impacting the housing market, and then how we can be here to serve those clients. So first data point I really want to point out is the one that's probably the most striking, and that is right now for the next 2 years, 12,000 Americans are going to turn 65 every day for the next 2 years. So every single day, 12,000 people. Tomorrow, 12,000 more people. The day after, 12,000 more people, all turning 65 every day for the next 2 years. And when you look at that number, like, you can't say that adding, that many retirees or baby boomers into the housing market is not going to impact the housing market, right? There's no way that this does not affect housing in one shape or another right now. Here in the South, so just primarily overall in the South, about 46% of all buyers are over 60. So we're talking about a pretty significant segment of our marketplace. And I don't feel that for a lot of real estate professionals, we are poised or positioned to be able to serve their needs and be able to understand what they're looking for, where they're coming from, those kind of things. So really what we're talking about is the boomers, our baby boomer generation, right? And so most of these folks are between like 55 and 75 kind of thing. They have been through a lot in their life. They saw the Berlin Wall go up. They saw the Berlin Wall come down. They've been through the Cuban Missile Crisis. They know where they were when JFK was assassinated, kind of thing. They've seen the same thing happen with MLK. They were there for the moon landing. They got high in Woodstock. So like these folks have been around for a while. They've seen a lot of things. It has impacted the way that they look at life and how they look at housing in particular. So overall, baby boomers, especially, the main segment we're going to be talking about today is going to be our baby boomers. And for the boomers, whether they're buyers or they're sellers, like when you just work with this demographic, generally speaking, they tend to be confident. They are experienced buyers and sellers. They are normally pretty comfortable with the process. They are also somewhat demanding, and that's okay. They've been through a lot. The good part for a lot of our boomers is they have a lot of money. They have been through economic upturns, downturns, so they tend to be demanding from the point of view of they're not going to settle for halfway. They're not going to settle for agents that are not prepared. They're not going to settle for people that don't know what they're talking about. They're going to have very high expectations for real estate professionals, and we need to be ready to step up to the plate. Image also is definitely going to matter for us when dealing with our boomers. If we don't look like the clients we represent, if we don't represent ourselves well, that's going to bode poorly for us. They're also very economically driven, and so they're not. Our boomers are not afraid of credit. They understand the power of leverage. They understand, how the markets work, these kind of things. And that can be a very, very powerful place to be. The real benefit here is that, especially when it pertains to like home ownership, this group has the highest rate of home ownership of any group out there. Now, in addition to just home ownership, they also currently have about 75% of wealth in the United States is held by Americans who are 55, 56 and over. So three quarters of all the wealth in the U.S. is by folks who are 55 to 60 and up. So we're talking about a really big segment that has a lot of money, very comfortable with who they are, what's going on, that kind of stuff. So it's a very but this is also a very good place for us to be because they also need our assistance. They need us to be right there. Now, the fact that 12,000 people are reaching, 65 every day, that is, for a lot of people, that's the point where they kind of say, okay, I'm going to start retiring. But you understand that boomer retirement is different than retirement in the past. In the past, retirement meant, oh, we're going to kick back, we're going to sit on the front porch, we're just going to kind of rock our final days away. That is not what boomer retirement is looking like at all, right? We got boomers that are jumping on airplanes, that kind of stuff. So a lot of folks are doing a lot more traveling. In addition, a lot of our boomers are doing what's called phase retirement, meaning they're not stopping working completely. They're just kind of tapering down. Maybe they're only working 2 or 3 days a week. Maybe they're working 1 day a week. And then we still have a very large segment that's unretiring. They're going to work as long as they are able. They're going to just keep putting out. So retirement is very, very different for this group. Now, when you start talking to them about housing, why are our boomers moving? Hands down, the number one reason, and nothing else is even close, our boomers move for family. Our boomers will go longer distances than any of our other generations out there because they're moving to be, in a lot of cases, near the grandkids and kids, that kind of stuff. They're chasing their families around. So, hands down, the number one reason for boomers selling is family, and the top reason for buying, family. So, that's just something that we see kind of go forward again and again and again. That continues to be the number one reason. Now, how that is impacting housing, it is changing housing a little bit from the point of view of one, they say one thing and they do another. And what I mean by that is, especially when it comes to, like, for a lot of our boomers, they're saying, you know what, we want to downsize. We really want to downsize. But then they look around and find out how much stuff they have. And we are saying that, do they downsize? Yes. Do they downsize much? No. They're downsizing about 100 square feet. So the average boomer seller is then buying a home that's only 100 square foot, which is, a little bit bigger than a walk-in closet, or about the size of a walk-in closet. That's about how much the average boomer goes down in square footage, just overall. We go from, overall around 2,000 square foot to about 1,900 square foot. So a little bit of a downturn, but really not much. What we are seeing boomers do a lot more of is they're choosing senior related housing benefits, right? They're choosing houses that are, and overall housing in general, that meets with their particular needs based largely on their age, but also their physical abilities, right? So homes that have wider entrances that could account for walkers or wheelchairs, housing that's on a single level, stepless ranches, these kind of things. And we're even seeing where we're seeing some of our newer senior housing has elevators in it, that kind of stuff. We got some new construction neighborhoods that are 55 up they're putting in neighborhoods because they're putting in elevators throughout the entire neighborhood. So there's different things that our boomers are really kind of looking for when you start talking about the type of housing. So in addition to the house itself, they're also looking for, are they convenient to healthcare? Healthcare continues to be a very important factor for this segment. And so if they can't get to the doctor's office in a timely manner, that's not going to be a good fit. So we're seeing some areas that have very good healthcare areas. In that area are tending to do really, really well with our seniors. Also, they really like planned communities, designed neighborhoods. They like organization. They like structure. They like neatness. They enjoy planned communities. They enjoy walkability. They will cruise around a neighborhood. They're going to stay active. They're going to stay fit. This is a group that's looking for that in their housing out there. They also want it to be convenient to all the things that they want to do. That needs to be convenient to the restaurants and the shops and those kind of things. So these are all important factors when trying to pair up our seniors along with, or our boomers, along with the type of housing choices that are available out there to them. Now, a lot of our boomers are aging in place. There is a lot of people that have just decided, you know what, I've got a really low interest rate. I just want to age in place. And there's going to be definitely a segment that really does appeal to. The challenge is for these folks is the housing that they have is not necessarily conducive to that. If you've got a master upstairs and you're trying to age in place, well, now you're looking at either putting in an elevator or those stair things that go up, some way to get up and down should things happen. So what we're seeing is we're having, our silver tsunami, as we say, is starting to look at some different housing options. They don't necessarily want to move, but they know that this is not, it's going to be really hard to age in place in this current condition. Now, there are some housing where they can make that do, but we're seeing where, because most of the, for our boomers, they tend to have a lot of equity in their homes, or they have cash and are available to put that forward. So long as they can stay in the housing market, they understand the power of home ownership. So while we may see and are seeing a significant portion of boomers that are trying to age in place, what we're really seeing is folks are shifting over to housing that fits their particular needs. It's not a dynamic, huge, everyone's jumping out the door right this second. What we're seeing is more of a gradual wave. We're seeing where our seniors are finding these housing options that match up with their lifestyle, with the way they want to live. And it's going to be like these folks are buying their forever houses. And so understanding what these forever houses is a very powerful place for the real estate community to really understand. So they want to be in a place that has the people that they want. Definitely, it needs to have the family. So it needs to have really good support networks in terms of healthcare, shopping, that kind of stuff. And they want a house that kind of fits in those kind of locations. Now, for a lot of us, it really breaks down into like 3 different distinct types of neighborhoods. One is the active adult communities. One is what's called affinity communities. And then the other is the old age restricted communities. We're just going to kind of break these down and talk about these. Now, if you are interested in working with these clients, especially here in the Atlanta area and Georgia overall kind of stuff, understanding these and knowing these markets, knowing these neighborhoods, knowing these benefits, that kind of stuff is really invaluable to you, because you want to be able to represent these folks and you want to help them understand, go to where is a really good place for them. So understanding that and being able to engage and assist them is very, very powerful. So first thing is the active adult communities. I kind of tongue-in-cheek call these summer camp for seniors, right? They've got some great stuff out there. And it really is like summer camp. They'll have sometimes 2-3 pools, indoor pools. They'll have golf courses, bocce ball courts, and they're going to have investing clubs, and they have social directors. It is a good time. I'm not throwing any kind of shade because I think it's pretty awesome. Now, the neighborhoods that we're really talking about here, all of our Del Webbs. So we have like Sun City Peachtree, Southern Oaks that's coming into Noonan soon, Chateau Lawn, Lake Oconee, Glenshire up over in Dallas, Village at Deaton Creek. That's going to be up in Hochton, or Hochton as they say there. So knowing where these communities are and being able to identify them is going to be very, very powerful for you. Now, one thing about if you are going to start looking and trying to find these housing options is you have to dig a little bit deeper. A lot of times these senior, a lot of agents don't highlight, if it's a 55 over community, if it's an affinity community. This is old school real estate, baby. You just got to kind of get in and start learning your market and know what's really going on. So on one hand, we have the affinity, the active adult communities. The next one is the affinity communities. Think golf, arts, aviation, that kind of stuff. So like, the aviation neighborhoods down in McDonough, we've got Mallard's Landing. We got like Margaritaville over in Hilton Head. Park Springs, that's going to be in Stone Mountain. Those are all golf villas, but designed and primarily ready for our seniors. Heritage Point at the Georgian, that's another golf course community over in Villa Rica, Lake Arrowhead and at Waleska, garden at Arbor Springs. That's going to be over in Noonan. That one's a luxury community. So all these affinity communities where this is what you want to do. We have a lot of them around the lake, same kind of thing. Now, the one that's probably the largest segment, these are our age-restricted communities. They're going to have covenants that only a certain percentage can be under the age of 55. They're going to be pretty strict on that. These neighborhoods are always set up normally very beautifully, very well maintained. The HOAs tend to be really, really strict, but these are our 55 plus neighborhoods. And so we have a bunch of these, all the Crestwinds. And so we have Crestwinds in Noonan, Gainesville, Peachtree City. All those Crestwinds can be good. Silver Summer over in Conyers, Park Place in McDonough, Palms at Lake Spivey over in Jonesboro. These age-restricted neighborhoods are a great choice for a lot. Of the three, those are probably going to be the most price flexible, I guess would be the best way to put it, kind of thing. But what I really want you to understand is there's some real power in being able to represent these clients. They need our expertise. They need our professionalism. They need that we're going to take the time to learn the type of properties that they're looking for, the benefits that it's going to help them out. They need real estate people that are going to be able to go out and know what this market is. This is a fairly specialized market right now. For years, we've been hearing how, oh, the Silver Tsunami's coming, all this going to be this massive wave, and it really hasn't happened for several years now. But now it's kind of reaching a crescendo, and we're having a lot of people that are moving into this kind of segment. But what I'm seeing is a lot of the housing professionals aren't ready for it. Or when it comes along, they're having to kind of pick and choose. All I'm saying is there is a very good opportunity here for real estate professionals to help these folks out and grow some significant market share. So good luck. If I can be of any kind of service, please let me know. Have a great week, everybody.